Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump seems to be winning big time in the trade war with the rest of the world, and this has very important implications to the financial market. So let's just watch on. And today I'll make a very big important announcement that you do want to miss. As usual, these are my disclaimers, and let's go. So the first big announcement that I have to make is remember, we have a financial mastery course that we're intended to launch tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. But now I'm going to bring forward to tonight. Okay, the launch is going to happen tonight. That's largely because yesterday we did a soft launch, and was actually, by the way, just mentioned, and there are just overwhelming demand for it that if I don't launch today, there'll be nothing left for the weekend. So I have to launch the ticket sales today. So don't miss this launch. I'll do a live stream tonight on Friday, the 27th of June at 11 p.m. on YouTube Live. So the sale will start tonight. Okay, there ain't many tickets left. So whoever wants it, don't miss it. So the S&P 500 yesterday is now nearing all-time high, right? Nearing like inches away from all-time high, and is set to break all-time high maybe even today. So the S&P 500 has hit 6141, and the Nasdaq has also hit 22447, and these are numbers they are hitting really in the striking range of all-time high. So the US ETF TLT has also started climbing up again, and all seems to be good. So the futures market right now looks very rosy. Again, right, the futures market is already broke all-time high for both the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. So let me just remind everybody that Warren Buffett has always said that if you bet against US, you're going to regret big time. Social media, financial influencers that really tell us US is dead, US is dangerous whatsoever. We're now approaching all-time high again. Okay, so I think this is good news. So there are more good news on the tariff war. So EU, who is at one of the target gun sight of Donald Trump, is now considering lower its tariff on US imports in an attempt to woo Donald Trump. The European leaders are debating at a meeting what they could give up to secure speedy trade deals. So they are now having a discussion what they are willing to sacrifice to win over Trump at a meeting with Brussels. And other concessions under consideration include lowering non-trade barriers, buying more American products, including liquefied natural gas, and offering to cooperate with the US to tackle economic concerns about China. So you can see, right, that Trump is winning on his fight against the EU. Now, mind you, EU has very high trade barriers against US imports. So it is not that US is the first bad guy, right? It's EU that is the first bad guy, and Trump is using evil to fight evil, poison to fight poison. In Chinese, you call this 以毒攻毒. So right now, it's actually bringing down trade barriers on EU. So trade negotiation has speed up in the recent weeks after Trump threatened imminent 50% tariff on EU in May before agreeing to hold off and allow talks to continue until July the 9th. And July the 9th is coming. So right now they are ready for a deal, said the EU President Ursula von der Leyen. But he said if everything fails, they are prepared to defend its interests, okay? And all options remain on table. Frankly speaking, I don't think they will back off from a deal, okay? So whether the trade deal can be reached depends on whether Trump, who said that EU was created to screw the US, can claim that he has scored a win. The people added. So EU is made up of a lot of different countries, and to get a consensus, I think it's difficult, but I think the will is there. So some of the European officials who want to move quickly to get a deal are seeking relief for certain critical sectors. They are struggling right now because of Trump's existing tariff. So the German side, okay, the chancellor said that a quick and simple deal is better than slow and complicated. So what he's saying is that don't try to get too much, right? A small win may not necessarily be be worse off than a big later win, right? So I think they're really, cannot tahan really, right? The French President Emmanuel Macron argued that accepting an unequal trading relationship may be damaging to European long-term competitiveness, but said one of the diplomat reject the suggestion and say if we accept 10%, how long will it last, right? Trump could launch a new front of trade war, blah blah blah. So clearly, German's view is not a united view, right? President of France is not quite happy in cutting a deal. So the Ireland Prime Minister said that getting a deal is important for certainty so that we know the landscape ahead of us and that industry knows the landscape ahead of it so that we can protect jobs, which is our number one priority. See, there are some parties that are interested in just cutting a deal. Never mind, it's not the best deal, but at least cutting a deal. So Spain, on the other hand, have a bad deal. So because Spain has been accused by Trump for not committing to a 5% NATO spending, right? So he said, "Hey, my country runs a deficit US. Why should I be hit on both sides, right? So I have to spend and spend and spend, right? So Spain doesn't like it. Belgium said that tariffs should be avoided at all costs so that we not allow ourselves to be provoked. We should all remain calm. We will negotiate and hope to reach a agreement. If not, we'll naturally adopt countermeasures, but these will be appropriate countermeasures. So you can see that I want to hit, but I'll hit appropriately. So you can see, right? So they also chickening out. So diplomats are increasingly pessimistic about negotiating away the 10% baseline tariff. If this reality sinks in, two approaches are emerging. A quick deal will mean certainty for business or retaliation to press for something better. So do we go into aggressive retaliation mode? Or are we less vocal and do a quick deal, right? So I think right now they are all leaning towards a quick deal. So meanwhile, there's some breakthrough with China. So US-China truce agreement has been signed. And Commerce Secretary also, US Commerce Secretary also said that 10 deals are coming. So the US and China has finalized a trade understanding reached in May in Geneva. And this is not a new deal. It's just that those deals that were pre-discussed in Geneva and in London right now has been signed, right? So at least they have concretized the deal. And the White House said that there are about 10 deals waiting to be cut with major trading partners. So it looks like the US is going to win big time in this. The China deal, which was signed 2 days ago, codifies the term layout in the trade talks between Beijing and Washington, including a commitment from China to deliver rare earth minerals used in everything from wind turbines to jet planes. So they are going to deliver rare earth to Earth, and once that is done, we'll take down a countermeasure. So there is rare earth is the single biggest sore point. Okay, so this is right now a major win for Trump, and to be frank, somewhat for China as well. But clearly, Trump wins are bigger in this. So the Commerce Secretary has also said we're going to do top 10 deals, put them in the right category, and these other countries will fit in. That means that after these 10 deals are done, the US Commerce side will then try to fit, which country fit into these 10 deals, right? So 10 model answers and the rest all follow. The question right now is for Singapore, where do we fit in? I think we'll get a baseline of 10%. I don't think we'll get anything worse than that. Malaysia, I'm not so sure. Malaysia, I think will kena a bit more. Well, let's see, right? Let's see. So the president has said that he'll ultimately send letters to countries dictating the trade terms if the agreement will not be reached in time. Countries will be sorted into proper buckets on 9th of July. So 9th of July is the D-Day, right? Of course, Donald Trump could extend these deadlines to allow for more talks. Those who have deals will have deals. Everyone else is negotiating with us. They'll get a response from us. Then they'll go into the package, okay? If people want to come and negotiate further, they're entitled to, but that tariff rate is set off and will go. So in early June, Reuters have reported that China has granted export license that are temporary to rare earth suppliers of the top three US automakers, according to two sources familiar with the matter, as supply chain disruption begin to surface from export curbs on those matter. But later in the month, Trump said that there was a deal with China in which Beijing would supply magnet and rare earth materials while US would allow Chinese students in college and universities. So all are coming in place right now. ceasefire and deals are now made. So let's take a look at US and India. So US and India, the current negotiation seems to face some roadblocks ahead of the tariff deadline. And right now it doesn't look as good, but later I have an update for you. So the US Donald Trump deadline for India is 9th of July. Okay, if not, they're gonna whack India big time. So India is pushing for a rollback of the proposed 26% reciprocal tariff, but US negotiators have not yet to reach a deal. The US side wants India to commit to deeper import tariff cuts on farm goods such as soybean, corn, cars, alcoholic beverages, along with easing of non-tariff barriers. So we are keen, okay, but not desperate to cut a deal before 9th of July. The source said, adding that India has offered to trade a tariff cut on almond, pistachio, walnut, and willing to extend preferential treatment for US imports, blah, blah, blah. My point is this. India has a hell lot of tariffs on the first hand. So US imposed on them to whack India to bring it down. So we have to be very clear who is the culprit at the first hand. So this is where Donald Trump just announced a very big India deal, maybe next to be announced after signing with China. So India said that the deal would be fair, balanced, and mutually beneficial. Clearly waiting to announce this big deal. We will watch and see. So you can see, right? Many things are lining up for US. And if US were to win big time on these deals, the US economy will stand to benefit tremendously. What about US Japan? Now, US Japan doesn't seem to be that exciting. Japan keeps the 9th of July deadline in mind, okay? But the trade negotiation doesn't seem to be going anywhere for now. The 25% auto tariff is not something we can accept, said Japan economy minister, okay? And before departing for Washington for a seventh round of trade talks with US counterpart. And Japan Prime Minister did not show up in the NATO summit, okay? So this seems to send a clear signal to the Trump administration that the relationship between US and Japan doesn't seem to be very good. So clearly the issue is the tariff that Trump has imposed on Japan. Now don't forget, Japan itself has a lot of tariffs on and non-tariff barriers on US as well. So again, right, Trump is imposing tariff to bring down Japanese tariff. So we shall see what happens. Let's not forget as well, Japan has very good relationship with Iran, and when US bomb Iran, Japan, although it's an ally of US, doesn't quite seems to support it fully. So what's the key takeaway from all this? So I need to just wrap up and say that Donald Trump's trade war is meant to bring down every trade global barrier in the world, okay? And I think that is working. So it is not a trade war to block and to protect the US business largely. Some of it, yes, but mostly is to bring down other people's trade barrier. So it's not exactly the kind of protectionistic trade barriers that's been put up historically over the ages. So this is quite unusual compared to some other things. So this is in some sense a good trade war. So on the stock market wise, I think most of the investors have been exposed to the worst tariff possible already, right? So the reciprocal tariff that have been hit earlier, I think that was the worst. And anything right now that is moderate is an upside. So it seems to me that the uncertainty of tariff is more harmful to world trade than actually having tariff itself. I think you can see a lot of the European leaders are actually saying that come, let's have something concrete is better than uncertainty. Uncertainty kills trade. I think so as well, right? A lot of people could not make decisions. A lot of business leaders could not make decisions on investment and trade with this thing hanging in the mid-air. So as we speak right now, the US stock market is likely to continue the bull run. And tonight, we're likely to see, stock market hitting record high. And in time to come, maybe end of the year, 6,600 points, as Tom Lee suggested. I think that's possible, right? So I'll see you tonight in the live stream at 11 p.m. Thank you very much. And remember, hit subscribe, and I'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.